Hey, let's learn Thomas Rhett's new song, Want It Again. All right, Thomas Rhett's new song, Want It Again, is recorded in the key of A, but because of the capo on the second fret, we're going to be playing chords in the key of G. His video actually shows you a little bit of what he's playing every once in a while, but the guitar is in totally standard tuning, E, A, D, G, B, E. And there's really only three parts we need to learn. There's the intro and the verse, which are almost the exact same. There's the chorus, and then there's kind of a quick little bridge instrumental section where he sings ooh over the top. So let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so the intro and the verses. Let me play it slowly first, and then we'll go ahead and break it down. It goes like this. So that is, the chords anyway, are basically a C to a G over B, to a D over F sharp, to a G. Now, I know that's a lot of chords real quick. I'll kind of put them along the bottom. But you want to start off on the A string with your first finger on the second fret, and then use your middle finger to hammer onto the third fret. And we're going to play basically the A, D, and the G strings for these first two chords. That's all we're playing, and we're just going straight in order. So it starts like this. One more time. So again, that's just hammer on from 2 to 3 on the A string, and then an open D and an open G. Then all we're going to do is lift up our middle finger to go down to what is effectively a G over B chord, but that's just your first finger on the second fret. Same thing, just A, D, G strings. So the first two chords are... Then all we're going to do is move our first finger from the A string to the low E string on the second fret and play those that same pattern, but we're going to skip the A string this time. We're going to start on the low E and then do the D and the G as well. So all three of those together are... And then we're going to just use our middle finger to hammer onto the third fret of the low E string. Now, instead of playing individual strings, what he does next is pluck the D and the G at the same time. So we're coming out of... So that's the D and the G together, and then just the G and D. Then your ring finger, which has been actually resting out on the third fret of the B string this whole time, then we're going to pluck that one. So after you hit the low E string on the third fret, you're going to do the D and the G together, then separately, that's the G and then the D, then the B string on the third fret. And then we're going to go G, D, G again. Again, it's just those strings. So that last chord looks like this. So the whole intro then is really just a C, G over B flat, D over F sharp, G. I'll play that slowly. So the first two lines of the verse are the exact same that we learned for the intro. It's not until the third line that something changes. And what happens in the third line is the first three chords are the exact same. But instead of going up to a G chord, we're going to go back to actually a C chord. So what that's going to be is third fret on the A string, second fret on the D string, open G, and third fret on the B string. But we're going to use the same pattern that we learned from the G chord. So we're going to pluck the A string on the third fret, then the D and G together. This time my first finger is on the second fret of the D string. So it's the exact same pattern. We're just, instead of playing on the low E string, we're playing on the A string. Then the last line of each verse walks up. So you go from an E minor to a D over F sharp to a G to a C. And again, we're still following basically that same pattern. So we're going to start on the low E string and then keep the D and the G strings open for the first 3 chords. So all we're doing there is just open on the low E, open, open on the D, G. Then use your first finger to fret the 2nd fret on the low E string. Use your middle finger to go up to the 3rd fret. And then we're going to use that same C chord that we just played in the 3rd line of the verse. But this time, instead of just your ring finger on the 3rd fret, we're also going to put our pinky finger on the 3rd fret of the high E string. So let's go ahead and play through it slowly. Looks like this.
When I was your man and you were my girl, we were technicolor in a black and white world. They say young love just don't last. Well, it looks like they were right about that.
And that's the verses. Let's jump into the chorus. So the chorus of the song starts on a C, then a G, D, and E minor. I'll kind of lay all the chords out along the bottom of the screen so you can read them easier. But the first half of the chorus is C, G, D, E minor, C, G, D. And on that second time we play the D, that's where we're going to have a little hammer on the high E string from open to fret 2. So it's open D, and then the B string, the G string, and then I just kind of use my thumb to strum all the way down and hammer on that high E string. So the first half of the chorus goes like this.
Oh, I hope one day you'll find your way back into my arms.
The second half of the chorus repeats those first 4 chords, C, G, D, E minor. And then the very last line, instead of going to that E minor, except the very last chord is going to be a G chord, and we're going to hammer on from the 2nd fret to the 3rd fret on the low E string and play it kind of with the same pattern from the verse, except at the very end we're going to pluck both the B and the high E string. So that looks like this. And that's the whole chorus. Let's go through that really slowly together.
Oh, I hope one day you'll find your way back into my arms. So girl, I'll put this heart of mine somewhere good and safe in case you want it again someday.
So the only other part we need to learn is the bridge, and that is basically just a few chords. So he starts on the C chord, then he goes to a D, and he's going to hammer on to the 2nd fret of the high E string. Then we're going to go to an E minor chord, and on the high E string, we're going to use our pinky to do a walk down. So that starts off on the 3rd fret of the high E string. Then use your middle finger to do fret 2 on the high E string. And I'm kind of picking those B and E strings at the same time. And then just open on the E string. My first finger and my ring finger are staying in the exact same spots. I'm just moving my pinky and my middle finger. So the first time through that bridge looks like this. And then he just does a C and a D again. Again, that's kind of hammering on that high E string. Same thing we learned in the chorus for that last D chord. At the very end of the chorus, he repeats the last line, and on the first time through, he just goes to an E minor chord, and then he resolves on that I always hoped and prayed back to the G chord. But that's basically the whole song. Let's go ahead and do a slow playthrough together.
When I was your man and you were my girl, we were technicolor in a black and white world. And they say young love just don't last. Well, it looks like they were right about that. And oh, I hope one day you'll find your way back into my arms. So girl, I'll put this heart of mine somewhere good and safe in case you want it again someday. Well, you moved on and so did I, but you danced around in the back of my mind. Yeah, good for you, he seems like a good guy. Well, you know me enough to know that's a lie. And oh, I hope one day you'll find your way back into my arms. So girl, I'll put this heart of mine somewhere good and safe in case you want it again someday. And you called me up, said you had a big fight. I said don't cry, it's gonna be alright. You say come over, you just need a friend. Well, I'm on my way, I'll be there in 10. And oh, I knew someday you'd find your way back into my arms. So girl, I kept this heart of mine somewhere good and safe. I knew you'd want it again someday. I always hoped and prayed that you'd want it again someday.
So that's not too difficult of a song. Hopefully it'll give you some good finger picking practice. If you have any questions about what we went over, just feel free to leave it in the comments. I try and do my best to answer each and every one. So if I did not explain something, you want me to go over something slower or in detail, just let me know and we can work through that. But if you have suggestions on future tutorials, I would love to hear those, love to make videos for what you want to learn. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do that as well. But most of all, thanks for tuning in today. Have a good one.